Morning. Welcome to another episode of Walk and Talk. I'm your host, Crypto Father, and today we'll be talking about education. I just dropped off my daughter at school, and for some reason, unexplained to myself and my wife as well, although we live right across the street from our school, from her school, she's late every single day. Without question, she's always late. There could be many reasons for this. Partially, I assume it's a habit she's formed over the years. She's in second grade in Korea. She'll be moving to third grade come summer next year. And I assume that the past 2 years she spent going to school late every single morning, helped to develop a habit of being late. The education system in Korea, which seems to be draining all joy and fun out of educating, learning stuff. Because isn't that what education's supposed to be? It's supposed to teach people how to enjoy learning, how to learn new things. And it seems that in Korea, at least from my experience, having worked with children over the past 10 years here, I've come to the conclusion that kids hate school for the most part. They dread going there. They don't want to be there. When they do go, the things they learn tend to be somewhat mechanic rather than creative. In addition to that, to the regular school days, children here are bombarded with after-school programs and private schools that they have to go to, which is another problem, I think. It's a lengthy topic and it's kind of hard to encompass it within 5 minutes, but my daughter's school is not actually all that long. She goes in the morning, her classes start at about 9, she has to be in at 8:40, and then they spend about an hour or so just reading books. Once that's done, her classes begin. She has a few classes and she finishes at around 12:30. Wow. Little storm typhoon going on here. Weather's getting really cold here. So after she finished classes at about 12:30, she's finished, and while other kids are sent to other private schools that range from mathematics, sciences to arts classes, my daughter comes to our school, to our language school. She doesn't really spend any time studying English, which is, I don't know, I guess she assumes that that she doesn't need it because she already speaks it. So while other parents spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on education, in English education in Korea, my daughter refuses to study it. What are you gonna do? Can't force people. I guess I could. I won't. Children here tend to attend 2 or 3 or sometimes even 4 or 5 what they're called hagwons, which are private schools after their regular schooling hours. This is a school where my daughter goes. It's a pretty standard looking mosaic of a school in Korea, elementary school. Schools here have a pretty common look. This is the back of it. I shall show you the front of it. So the elementary level kids, tend to finish their schooling sometimes 6, 7, 9 o'clock. When it comes to high school, I've seen kids return after midnight. I've seen buses dropping children off at around 1 a.m. in the morning. So basically, the kids here spend very little time in the public schools and a lot of time in the private school sector. Which is, you know, a very good explanation for the existence of the plethora of private schools scattered all over the country. Busy streets, all these buildings are filled with private schools from head to toe, or from toe to head. On this side and on this side of the street as well. In addition to that, each building has its own coffee shop or is filled with restaurants. Makes you wonder, how do businesses survive in this environment? Most of the schools aim at preparing kids for tests. Testing is very important in Korea. Tests are used for everything. In order to pass your grades, and one of the most important tests takes place at the end of your high school years, during which it is decided which university you go to. The university entrance in Korea is unlike any other country that I've seen. The students here get to pick 3 universities that they would like to go to. Then, based on their exam scores, they will be able to choose one of them. Oftentimes, a student is not able to go to the top tier university of their choice, and they're packaged into a university that they, you know, had as a backup, so to speak. And I've talked to numerous students who were studying things they never actually really wanted to study. They were really stuck with it, stuck with a major in I don't know, design or industrial design or something of that sort, simply because their grades or their test grades were not good enough. Once kids enter university here, things change. First year university students stop studying altogether, for the most part. For boys, all men in Korea have to go to army, and it's about that age, about that time when they have to do their duty to visit the shacks, the military shacks. So the first years either don't study because they know that the second year will be spent in the military, or they've just come out of military and they're too tired to study, or their brains have been lacerated and you know, they need to get back into the studying mode. Military here is about 18 months to 2 years, depending on which branch of the military you go to. Marines, I think, tend to spend 24 months. There's a 3-story building. You've got a coffee shop and 2 English schools, and right opposite from it is another English school, another, well, I guess an English school, and there's a math school as well. As you can see, toe to head, and right across there's a math learning center, and right across from that is an elementary school. Right across from that is another school. It's a bookstore and 2 schools. And the building in which my school is located is a 5-floor building, and 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th floor is our Shane school, and on the 5th one is another school. There are no advertisements placed, but every single floor has schools in it. Just a block over, past a business or 2, there is another building with 2 more schools in it, and right beside it there is another building with a business inside on the main floor, and 2 more academies on the 2nd and 3rd floor. Kids go to these schools as sure as sun rises and sets. They don't get a break. It's day in, day out, every single day, and there's plenty of schools. Nobody has an excuse not to go to one, I guess. You could look at it from a parental perspective. Many years ago, it was a perception of status, so only the people with money were able to afford, you know, private English teachers or private tutors. And tutors in the past used to come over to people's houses and do private tutoring. That's changed with time. As demand grew, somebody discovered that it's a lot more profitable to have a private institute and have the students come to them rather than go into people's houses. But there's still plenty of private tutors who walk around and do private tutoring because it pays well. So overall, while you know, people might assume that Korea places a lot of value in education, I'm not sure that's an accurate description. It seems like Korea places a lot of value on the appearance of education, but what they have here in place, I don't think is education. It's a form of brainwashing, so to speak. You know, kids are prepared, taught how to answer to authority, how to do tests, how to sit through a whole day of classes, and creativity is basically bred out of them, is taught out of them, because they spend way too much time in classes instead of being outside and having fun, or learning in a way that encourages creativity and you know, and lets them have fun. If public schools can't prepare the kids to learn, then what is the point of education? Might as well scrap the public schools and have private institutions all along. So while I understand the need for placing education at the top of a list of priorities for many parents, I'm not quite sure that it's necessary to create an environment in which children are forced to attend, you know, 5 or 6 different educational institutions in a day, and they're forced to sit through classes they don't really want to participate in, just so the parents feel like their children are learning and, you know, becoming smarter. I get the feeling that a lot of the kids here, they seem to be developing, you know, the book smarts, but a lot of them, a lot of the kids fail to achieve in the emotional intelligence level. I'm afraid that spending so much time in classes and just, you know, being cooped up in their seats rather than interacting with their friends, it comes at a cost. I think children are paying paying the price for being educated, and the price is that they lack an ability to interact and to understand other children better. The education system in Korea is in need of serious reforms, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, for many reasons that we cannot really go into this video now. So that's for now. Yeah, bye.